All right. Welcome back to Two Caring Gents, where real stories meet real people. Today's episode is going to be unique. It's going to be different than last week's and the weeks before that. So I really hope you enjoy listening. And please comment below and let us know of any topics you want to talk about or input you want to hear. Jake, thank you for joining us today on Two Caring Gents. For our listeners, this is Jake Dawson. Today's episode is a very special one that's near and dear to both Jake and I and Chris. And I'm very excited.
I'm excited too. Thank you for having me here. This is my first podcast, so
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
This is exciting.
what do I do? No,
Yeah.
you just talk. We're starting off with gifts, though, boys.
Oh, man.
I should have known. I should have known the Dawson. I should have known.
Did I even see him
Well, I
walk in
feel
with
bad.
that bag? I did not even see him walk in with that bag.
Let's go.
So
what
these
do we got?
This is the original run of Good Scan Cans t-shirts. These are the last
kidding.
two. They
Are
the
you
last
serious?
two. Yeah.
Thank you.
My God,
How old,
man.
take us through the
dude.
company. Like, when did you start this up?
Yeah. So
Would it be weird if I had you sign this?
I would love
be
to sign
weird.
it.
Would it be weird if I take my shirt off
Yes.
and put it back, put this on? I'm
Not
gonna
at
be
all.
wearing this at the next. Sorry.
Oh
when
my
did you start this up?
Dude.
So yeah, I guess we'll just like dive kind of in. Let's just dive into the genesis of Good Scan Cans. Yeah, beating cancer one small victory at a time. That's our original tagline. So
I know, man.
I love that.
My new favorite shirt.
I know.
Yeah, buddy.
yeah, they're nice and like
I love that
light,
it's like
In there,
very
yeah.
breathable.
Yeah.
Like
I'm gonna brag on you and your talents later, but it doesn't surprise me you came up with a super amazing brand.
Yeah, I know. Because I'm like, dude, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some amazing,
any stickers in here.
awesome.
Oh, dude, I love stickers.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
That skater in me,
Well,
dude.
this is like no one. I mean, people can bring gifts from now on, but it's kind of been done. Sweet.
Dude, this is sick.
Oh my
This
goodness.
is so sick.
Yeah, I like those stickers a lot. I think I'm gonna turn that one into maybe the next round of t-shirts.
Well, this is going on Levi's helmet and his board. First
Selfish
go.
brag, like are you still super active with like you'll do creative content, marketing, all that? So I don't know if he's probably too humble to admit it, but like his marketing content that he does for companies, I mean, it's incredible. And like, look at that.
I know.
Dude, it's going on. So I didn't know if you were still doing it as much.
Yeah.
Or,
Oh, yeah. Well, that's another thing that I want to get into a little bit later, just
Okay.
creativity in general. But I guess I'll just start out with a little bit of my backstory and then lead that into Good Scan Cans. So just for everyone who's unfamiliar, I have stage 4 neuroendocrine cancer. Tumor was found on my pancreas in June of 2021, June 6th of 2021, which is June 6th is I don't want to say special, but a significant date in your life as well.
Yeah, same. I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, diffuse large B cell, on June 6th of 2016.
Yeah. So
how do you find out? Like, what's the symptomology? What?
yeah. So for me, I had very random bouts of significant abdominal pain. Honestly, starting in like probably 2015, but they were just like maybe like once a year. They started to ramp up more in 2020. I went to the ER in March of 2020 with significant abdominal pain. They didn't do a scan. They just did labs. Thought I had an ulcer. They told me to stop drinking tequila and eating chicken wings. And I was like, yeah, I do like tequila and chicken wings. So
That's a hard ass.
Yeah.
maybe that's the problem.
Can
So
you say oatmeal or something?
Yeah.
Why are you taking the good stuff away?
broccoli. So like I quit drinking and eating spicy foods for a while. Me and Taylor had our wedding in July of 2020. I had no issues for the rest of 2020 until December hit. And I started getting more regular abdominal pain. And this was abdominal pain that wasn't a stomach ache. It felt like my insides were rotting. So I waited until March of the following year to see my family physician. Again, they did not run any scans, even though I was complaining about abdominal pain, which, like, I get. I'm not here to besmirch anybody in the healthcare community. I was a 31-year-old, you know, who worked out 6 days a week and seemed like all, besides for the random abdominal pain, very healthy. So they just told me that I had acute pancreatitis, and again, to not drink any alcohol, eat any spicy foods, anything that might inflame the pancreas. I said, okay. And then June, the tumor was found. I was rushed to the women's hospital, and they finally ran a CT scan. That's when the tumor was found on the head of my pancreas. Funny enough, I have a really good friend who's in the healthcare community. His name's Dr. Luciano Vargas, and he's been a friend of mine for a long time. And you know how it is with your friends when like you sort of know what they do, but like if you had to specify what it is that they do, you would have like no idea.
Yeah.
You kind of just babble. So it's like I knew Luciano was like a surgeon and kind of, you know, he knew his stuff when it came to like healthcare. And we knew he dealt with like the organs down here. So my wife Taylor, after I got out of the hospital and that tumor was found, she called Luciano and she was like, tumor was just found on Jake's pancreas. Who do I call? And he said, you call me. And I know we've talked about just like what it is to have like inside support. Mm-hmm. And dude, it's everything. Like my Whipple was scheduled 16 days after the tumor was found. Mm-hmm. I didn't like schedule any of my appointments. You know, it was just like everything was just on one chart for me. It's just like show up here, show up here, show up here. You don't have to think about anything, which is like very beneficial because you don't really have the processing power to you know, think about a whole lot. So had the Whipple. Luciano did the Whipple himself, 11-hour procedure. They say recovery for a Whipple is 8 weeks.
Wow.
It's not 8 weeks, not for me at least. I had a very long recovery. It was brutal, but I'll get into that more as we go on. I just kind of want to get to good scan cans right now. I met my oncologist in August, and that's when I found out that my cancer was stage 4. My first post-surgery scan also came in August, and at that point, I found out that I was what my oncologist calls no evidence of disease, which is basically if I were to walk into a random doctor's office and they were to scan me, they wouldn't see any cancer, not knowing my medical history. And that's because like when you have stage 4 cancer, the cancer exists at a cellular level that is undetectable with a scan. So she was like, you still have cancer. It'll most likely come back, but it is undetectable right now. Great news, right?
Yeah.
Well, I left the doctor's office that day more so with a sense of relief. I was like, well, I just had this 11-hour surgery. Like, I better be no evidence of disease right now. You know, like there was no celebration. There was no hugs between me and Taylor. It was just a sense of relief. And then I went back home and went through another 3 months of suffering, you know, throwing up, being nauseous all day, every day. So my next scan was scheduled for November. They're about 3 months apart. So on the way to the oncologist office, following those scans, I looked at Taylor and I said, you know what? If I'm still no evidence of disease, like there has to be some sort of celebration. And it doesn't have to be big, and I don't want it to be big because I want it to be a celebration that is repeatable because there's going to be what I hope many successes on this journey. So I said, here's my idea. If these scans are good, we're gonna leave the office. We're gonna go to a bar. We're gonna order a couple cans of whatever. We're gonna cheers them, and we're gonna call them good scan cans.
Love it.
So
Genesis.
yeah,
Yes.
No evidence of disease in November. We left the clinic. We went to the Homie Inn, which is one of our favorite bars in the city, as
Nice.
anybody who's been to the Homie Inn will agree with.
Delightful.
Yeah. I got like a Miller High Life, and Taylor got something else, and we cheersed them. I took a photo and I put it up on my Instagram, and I just gave like a brief explanation of what we were doing. Like, these are our little good scan cans. Everything's going good right now with the cancer journey. And then to my surprise, my inbox just started flooding with people cheersing their own cans. They were running to their fridge, popping cans open, cheersing me. I looked at Taylor and I said, like, maybe there's something here. Like maybe this is like something that's more than just a little celebration between me and you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something that we bring everybody else in on. So I spent the next December to April basically formulating the plot to launch Good Scan Cans, which for me, I'm a content marketing guy. So I designed the website, I designed the logo, I put these t-shirts together. I filmed a video basically explaining what Good Scan Cans was. And then we launched all of that in April of 2022. And it's been a very like slow process since then. At least it started off slow. It's ramping up a lot recently. First thing we did was we partnered with Moolah Mexican Kitchen and Tequileria, and we donated a portion of sales from cans of beer to the Neuroendocrine Tumor Research Foundation, which was it was a sign of things to come. I didn't know anybody at NetRF when we initially made this donation, and since then they have become like best friends for me.
Wow.
And I'll talk about them a little bit too as we go on. But I mean, Good Scan Cans for me, it started as a creative endeavor. Like Jake Dawson solves his problems by being creative. So like for me, it was like, okay, I have cancer. How do I turn cancer into a creative endeavor? How do I sort of make having cancer look kind of cool? Which is sort of like a morbid thought, because it's like not cool. And if you followed me around with a camera, you would like realize very shortly how uncool and unfun it is. But part of my thought process was like, I have a rare cancer that like no one knows about. Like no one even knows how to pronounce it. Like I'd never heard of it before.
I had to look it up when I read it the first
so
time.
It's like,
yep.
We have to like do our part to sort of, make people aware. So Good Scan Cans started as 100% a creative endeavor. And since then it was just, it's just like, now I sit and I'm just like, how far can I keep pushing this creativeness? And that leads into my first kind of point that I want to get into here. You guys have any, like, I don't want to like just keep.
This is awesome, man. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Carry through with your points, man.
Okay, cool. Actually, one more thing first.
I'll take an opportunity just to thank the amazing healthcare professionals that are out there. So
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough to know Luciano as well, and then meeting Dr. Lunning. Oh, my goodness!
Man, I'm about to say you can't have a can, you can't have a beer without a koozie.
It's the never-ending bag of goodness down there, man. There it is.
Dude,
there it is. And
dude, I'm still looking for a can sponsor. Like, come on.
there
Crush.
we go.
And
there we go.
like the one part I love about this is how much you emphasize the word good.
Yeah.
Because like we talk, like,
Cheers,
is it a
guys.
good day?
Cheers.
Salute.
Yes.
Cheers.
Salute.
Cheers.
My man.
Yeah, I got the wrong side. I got the good tattoo red
Nice.
here as well. Dude, I got this 100% just as like a marketing gimmick for our fundraiser last year. I was like, I'm just going to get the logo tattooed, and that's a post right there.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
love it. No, just carry on, man. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, kind of what I wanted to get into today is like, my thesis is that cancer gave me superpowers. That's kind of like the theory that I've been operating off of, and I'm also like very hesitant to talk like that as well, because I don't want people to think like, oh, this dude has cancer and now he thinks he knows everything about life. Like that's not what I'm trying to get at all. Like what I'm trying to say here is that like cancer has taught me things that I wouldn't have otherwise known.
Right.
So the superpower overall that I say cancer has gave me is the superpower of perspective. And what I'd like to kind of get into here is like 3 subcategories of perspective and some stories that go along with them.
Cool.
And my first kind of like subcategory of perspective, as far as like the superpower I feel like it gave me, is to create without hesitation, which is, why I said like this kind of like bleeds right into it.
Yeah.
I've always been a creative person, like when I was a kid, I drew. And then in middle school, I was convinced I wanted to be like the best journalist of all time. And I started writing a bunch. And then in my early 20s, I started a hip hop group, and we achieved what some would call a good amount of success in the Omaha music scene. And then once that ended, I picked up a camera and I was just like, I'm just going to be a photographer and a videographer now. And now I've been doing that for like 12, 13 years. Despite that, I've always created with like a profound sense of hesitation and just like a significant fear of like what other people would think about my work.
Dude, that is super interesting. I would never, well, like, I've seen your content now for over 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's just like,
wow, that you really.
but I've always like pushed myself to release material despite like those thoughts. But you know, having cancer has sort of like allowed me to let go of some of that hesitation.
Yeah.
And how I kind of came to that realization is a story I'd like to share about the worst night of my life. And this isn't the night I was diagnosed, and it wasn't the day of my Whipple or any of the days following the Whipple. This happened about 2 months after my Whipple in August of 2021. I walked into surgery that day and I was like 173 pounds. Like I said, I worked out all the time. Mid-August, I dropped down to about 128. So, you know, lost 45 pounds in about 6 weeks. I was just withering away, man. So at one point, it was like a Saturday morning or something, and Luciano actually made a house call to me. And it was him and my wife and my mom. And it was sort of like an intervention. You know, they were like, Jake, you're like disappearing basically, you know? And from my perspective, I was trying my hardest, but like from their perspective, they were just worried about me and they were worried that I wasn't trying my hardest. So it was kind of, you know, that's why I had like a little bit
perception
of had a little bit of an intervention feel.
struggling.
Yeah. Anyways, like a day later, I found myself readmitted into the hospital just for like severe weight loss.
Were you not eating on purpose, or you just feel so ill that you didn't have?
I didn't feel good enough to eat.
Right.
I was like, I wasn't even able to like get Ensure down. You know, like my wife was like trying to force feed me Ensure, and I was just like, she'd set up my nightstand, and she'd be like, drink this, and like she'd come back 3 hours later, and it wouldn't even be opened. You know, just
The frustration that you can feel from your loved one because you feel their pain, right? They're worried about you, but been there. Like, I want to eat, but I can't.
Yeah.
And even if I did,
dude, like
it
no
just
one
come
would
right
like
back
to
up.
eat a ribeye more than me right now.
Yeah.
You just feel so ill and so
Yeah.
You can't put anything down. And even when I did put stuff down, it would come right back up, and it was horrific.
Yeah.
And it was just like, man, you're literally stuck in a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
Because you understand. You're not naive. You're not like not present. You understand you're really sick.
Right.
And you're doing everything to just keep your head above the water, but
Yeah.
things prevent that. There's so much that goes on in the inside of our bodies.
Right. Yeah. So I was readmitted back to the hospital, and they said that they had to give me a feeding tube. Have you had a feeding tube?
Oh yeah. Swallow
So,
now.
I'm going to explain
I feel like you're drowning.
what it's like to get a feeding tube. So first off, I was in the ER for 7 hours before I got my room. And we talked, how long were you in the ER the other week?
13 hours.
13 hours. God.
Yeah.
Dude, if you've never been in an ER room, like, you're very lucky. But like, they are very uncomfortable, and they're small, and there's always chaos happening in the hallways, especially like if you're there at night, like on a weekend, like especially the Med Center main campus. Like that place can get crazy.
you're gonna see some stuff.
Oh, you're gonna see some stuff. So like being in those rooms, like you can be sick and in pain, but you can also have like a lot of anxiety just from like the circumstances and, you know, the comfortability of the area. So I finally get up to my room about 11 p.m. 2 nurses walk in, and I'm sure you've had this happen as well, where one of the nurses will be like, so this is Caitlin. She's a student. Would you mind if she helps put in your feeding tube? And like, I'm, you know, a polite Midwestern boy. So I've never turned down a nurse when she says, can I try? Like, I let a nurse pull like a grenade out of me once, like a student nurse. So she's like, oh, I'm like, okay. So basically, like, getting a feeding tube place is sort of like a 30-minute COVID test. They put like 2 tubes up your nose, and then they put them down your sinuses, and then they go down your throat, and then they go down your stomach. And like how the feeding tube actually works is they have to wrap the cords around your stomach. So in order to do that, they have like an X-ray machine so they can kind of see where the cords are going.
Okay.
They were having trouble wrapping the cord around my stomach. So like they had to keep trying. And in order to do that, they have to bring it up,
Start back.
and then they have to go down.
Oh.
So it feels kind of like you're being, you feel like a drain that's being snaked. You can like feel like the reverberations like in your
And this is going on for a half hour?
A half hour. You're kind of like choking and you're
Choking. You feel like you're
crying,
drowning.
yeah.
Oh man, like
Yeah.
I felt like I was drowning.
Yeah.
And I was so sick when they were doing it.
Yeah.
That level, like what my vitals were doing,
Mm-hmm.
everything, it was just, it's tough.
yeah.
It's one of the worst experiences.
Dude, I tell people that getting a feeding tube place was like the worst thing that I've had done. Like,
And then living with
Everything
it.
you've been through.
I remember the frustration with it being there. trying
and that's the
to-
thing. When the feeding tube's placed, it's not like it's just like in you. You're an elephant.
Yeah.
The tubes hang down about like to your chin. Snot just profusely runs. You get to a point where you're like, I'm done sniffling. You just let the snot just like form a pool in your lap in the hospital bed. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is when they put the sludge through the tubes into your nose, because that's like when you're like drowning, because
Yeah.
it's like, and they were like doing like 1 cc or whatever the lowest thing is for me, and I was just like choking. Eventually, I fell asleep with the. I basically was like, we can't do this right now. Can we just try to do this in the morning? I just want to go to sleep. So they're like, okay. But they were able to get like some of the beige sludge in me.
Nutrition,
Yeah, the nutrition. And then I fell asleep. And then I woke up, like maybe an hour later. And this is a story I've never told. I had diarrhea all over my hospital bed. I just, was not able to control my bowels, and just like the stuff they were putting inside of me is just like, it's prime solution for having diarrhea.
Yeah, you just go right.
Just going right through it. And I was like, man, I was so embarrassed. I didn't want to call a nurse. So I didn't. I have a rap song about being on chemo and just cancer in general. And I have a line that's, I clean up my own mess and don't wait for nurses, which is specifically about this experience. I got out of my bed, I stripped the bed, I took all my clothes off, I shoved them in the hamper. Mind you, I'm still, I have an IV in my arm, and the things are coming out of my
hooked up.
nose. So I'm like, you're all hooked up, and it's like, so I'm like moving the IV around so I can like get to here, and so I can wrap up the sheets. And luckily I had a change of clothes on me. That was the worst night of my life. I woke up the next morning, and what I didn't know what was happening behind the scenes is, actually just learned this. Taylor said she called Luciano, and she was like, please let Jake go. He knows how horrible it is to get a feeding tube now. I promise you, he will start eating.
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
So Luciano walked into my room and that morning, and he just yanked it out, and I walked out of there, and I never ended up like doing another like feeding. Thankfully, I think we maybe tried, and I was just like, no, it's not happening.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So
But,
you
like-
went through that, and then
But like what I remember is like, after I had woke up in the middle of the night and gone through this process of changing out the sheets and everything, I was too scared to go back to sleep, because I was like, well, I don't want to do that again. I'm just going to stay up for the rest of the night. So I stayed up the rest of the night, and I was just, alone with my own thoughts. I remember specifically looking out the window. Man, I remember this room, and window was right there, and I was on the inside of the U. So you look out the window and you just see the other side of the building. It's
The
like,
other patients,
Yeah,
and
it's like sometimes you get a good view in
Yeah.
the hospital.
We
This
probably shared
specific-
rooms.
Yeah, this specific occasion, I had a terrible view.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, man, like this is the worst that it's been. My mental health is just like absolutely in the toilet right now. If I get out of here, like when I get out of here, and when I start feeling better, like I'm not going to be scared anymore. I'm not going to be scared to create. I'm not going to be scared to get on planes. I have a terrible phobia of flying. I'm not going to be scared to do anything anymore. And we're human, so it's like, have I held true to that? No. I get scared all the time. I still get scared to like release good scan cans material, but like it's helped
For the most part.
For the most part,
yeah.
it's like having cancer has sort of allowed me just to create without hesitation, and that's what good scan cans is at the end of the day. It's just like my own personal creation that I'm just trying to push out into the world, and I just want to like keep pushing it and see how far it goes.
It's amazing. I mean, the emotional intellect that comes from hard experiences like that. You're not alone in that horrible moment. I've had those. Your dignity. You have no dignity as a patient. And I would tell my nurses, I was like, you guys are angels in the flesh because what you do, and you don't make me feel bad about it.
Right.
I had many of those moments, and just, God, you're like, I can't believe this is my life. I don't want anyone to know I'm even here. And how did I get here? Did you ask?
Is this happening?
You ask yourself, how did I get here? And I remember that room specifically, looking across, and there would always be a new patient.
Yeah.
Patients would be going and coming and going, and
Oh, man.
I felt so stuck. What do I have to do
Yeah.
to be that guy? I just wanted to be them so much. I didn't want to be myself. It's almost like you just find ways to escape, but there's really no escape. And like you said, but it's those little victories. Like I remember getting the feeding tube out, and like, dude, I was like, I don't know. I was like that guy on the street I was like a used car salesman in a sense. Like I would try to sell my nurse on doing something that they knew I wasn't going to get that day. And I'd be like, how about today?
What's an example?
Feeding tube.
Yeah.
Or getting, like, when I had all the stuff on my heart, getting that stuff out. I would to drain tubes. I was always trying like, hey, today's the day, right? We can get this. And they'd be like, well, let's see what your labs say.
Even something as simple as like, hey, can I have a glass of water today?
Yeah.
Because like at one point, I'm sure you've been NPO for.
That's the worst acronym ever.
Yeah.
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 So NPO stands for nothing by mouth. It's like Latin for nothing by mouth.
Yeah.
Which means no water, no food. Like, dude, I begged a nurse for ice chips one time. And she's like, I'll give you an ice chip, but you have to spit it back out into the cup.
Yeah.
So she gave me like one ice chip, and I chewed it up, and then she's like, okay, spit it, and I spit it back out into the cup, and that was my hydration for like 3 days.
I was just gonna ask how long you can be NPO.
Get the waffle tongue.
Yeah.
You went 3 days.
I don't
How'd you
know.
know?
I guess like when they're giving you an IV, it's like they can keep you hydrated that way.
But
your
your
mouth-
still, but your mouth
It's
is
still
starting
like
to-
the sensation of like dehydration.
I remember my tongue sticking to the roof of my mouth.
Yeah.
And everything felt coated like crushing waffle board. And it was like flaky. It was the worst.
Oh.
And I remember I was like an addict. I was delusional. I was telling my wife, I think they're trying to kill me. They're not giving me what they want, and they're just being mean about it.
Oh my goodness.
I remember, I don't even know how, it was weeks. I was MPO, and I remember like, I was like an
Weeks?
addict. Yeah.
Weeks?
During the heart, yeah. And I remember like, I was just like trying to convince to get a fix. It was ice. I was just like, the nurse was so annoyed by me, my night nurse. And she was just waiting for her break because every time she'd come in, she wasn't even in to get on her computer yet. And I was in the ICU. And I was like, hey, you gave me ice last night. Do you think you can do it again? Can you go get some ice? She's like, the nurse just told me she gave you some ice. I was like, yeah, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And it was a really small amount. Like I was lying about the amounts of ice.
right,
All right. Like ice is gold.
Yeah.
And, and I remember when I was like, could finally eat, but I like gorged. And it was just the worst experience ever. And same thing after I got out of the hospital, after stem cell transplant, not CAR T, but the other one.
Yeah.
We went to my favorite, like I was fixated on this restaurant, this breakfast spot, Bailey's, off 120th and Blondo. I was fixated. And I was telling my nurses, they were asking, what's the first meal you're going to get when you get out of here? Because you haven't eaten for like 2 weeks, mouth sores and everything else. I was like, I'm going to get the chicken fried steak with bacon and all the things. And they were just like cracking up. And then I remember going and eating it. We left, went right there, ate it. And then as soon as I finished, I got up, went to the bathroom, and it all projectiled into the toilet at the restaurant. Sorry for anyone that eats there for that memory, but I was so devastated.
Shout out Bailey's.
Yeah, shout out Bailey's.
The chicken fried steak's really good.
It's very good. Their eggs Benedict are amazing. Their They're thick
Dude,
cut
their
bacon.
English muffins are nice and fluffy.
Yes, they're really really good. And
Way to bring him back up. Yeah, this was not a hit on Bailey's.
no, their food is amazing. It's so good that it will bring a patient going through what I went
Yeah.
through. That's all I
think
thought
that's
about for
I think
weeks.
it's an endorsement for sure.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it was, those moments are so hard. And I remember just being like, God, I don't want anyone at the firehouse to know what I've been through. And I don't want my wife to know what I've been through. And I, at a point, didn't want people to even come to my room. I didn't want my wife to visit me. I didn't want any of that. I didn't want to be seen. I wanted to literally disappear into my bed and not be seen. I felt bad for the nurses when they had to come in, always apologizing. Told you don't have to apologize, but you had no dignity.
Yeah.
I mean,
You talk about that a lot. Like learning how to live without dignity and just basically having to do whatever.
innocence robbed.
Yeah.
Right? Your innocence completely taken away. And
I remember, like after the Whipple, I just pretty much didn't have pants on. It's just like I basically just like took the gown off and it was just in my hospital bed, just like in my boxers. But like I would have like visitors come and stuff, like people that if you would have told me a year ago, like they're gonna come see you laying in bed in just your boxers, I'd have been like, what? No,
right? Like
And
you
now,
become
in the
okay.
moment, but in the moment, it's like I don't even care, dude. I'm just like laying there like this, and it's just like everything's just out, and
I know people would want to hug me, and I'm like, you have no idea
yeah,
what I just went through this morning. Really? You don't want to hug me.
yeah.
But like
gross.
people don't care. The human piece, that's what makes our species so beautiful, is you really see a side of humans that you wouldn't see. Like I tell my wife all the time, like I would never have hoped for my journey, but I cannot imagine my life without it. I can't imagine. It is beautiful in a very weird way, very, very beautiful, because my day-to-day, the way I see people is probably, and the way you see people is so different than probably a lot of people see other people.
I appreciate you too putting yourselves out here like this, like you have, man. And you said your superpower, Jake, and I understand how that can come off like you said, you're not
Pompous.
Yeah, that's a great word for it. Like, and that's so wrong. I think you have the absolute right and ability, anyone that has challenges, right, to go in the closet and shut the door and just stop. And I appreciate you two so much for someone who never has cancer to also appreciate the beauty of just a healthy day. And the things that I know I'm almost too over the top with that at times, but I've been around so much illness and so much end of life that a day, and that's like, selfishly, brother, like, I one of the many reasons I love hanging out with you is that, your optimism and your optimism, Jake, and your fight, and what do I have against me today, really, right? So I appreciate you too. Just being vulnerable enough to put yourself out there, and I'm just sitting here taking this in, man. It's unbelievable.
It's great to hear you say that. Just because, that's the goal. The goal would be for everyone to kind of like look at what I'm doing, what Nick's doing, and be able to like have perspective. Like that's the whole thing that we're talking about here is perspective. So like for you to be able to like recognize that, like that's great.
Yeah, I have trouble, Jake, at times with people that, and even recently, where I'll be on the phone with someone and I'll just say, I'll talk to you later. Because what they're complaining about is so trivial and so minuscule.
Yeah.
Versus realizing that you're healthy today. And I don't care if somebody thinks that's cliche. Mm-hmm. When you're around someone that's fought the way you two have fought, and having the NG tube sounds miserable. No matter how well you guys describe it, I can never feel it.
Right.
But what I can do is respect it.
Yeah.
That a day that I have, and I knew you before the cancer, right? And, you know, I think what's amazing now is understanding the valley that you went through. And now, brother, like you're just as vibrant or more vibrant, right? But I just, I appreciate you two putting yourself out there, man, because this is just the impact that you're going to have on people that are fighting a really, really life impacting disease or limitation, or someone that's healthy. I love when people are watching this that are healthy and realizing, oh my God, tomorrow's Friday. And I mean, what a blessing.
Yeah.
How much of the world needs that right now?
Like, I'll never forget the first time we met. I was going in to the place we were about to go hang out and have drinks, and Jake right behind me, Nick. And it's just like,
Yeah, man.
that first tone, that for me, tone is everything on meeting someone. That tone, I'm like, this is gonna be some good conversation.
You've got
and
a radio
I already
voice,
feel
though.
that.
Sorry, I mean,
No,
he projects. I'm sitting back. I was like, man, this is.
I'm a loud talker.
It's good.
Yeah, Taylor always is like, you're yelling, right? I'll be on like a conference call and she'll text me from the other room, you're yelling. But it's like, it's truly because like I just get like,
It's strength.
I'm passionate about like everything that I do, and if I'm not passionate about it, I don't do it. To be honest with you, like I just have trouble doing it.
Yeah.
So,
You know, introducing you two, like this is a dream to see you two sitting like this.
This is a privilege.
I mean, just knowing Jake and knowing Taylor, obviously our relationship, and seeing one of your posts, and it just like bam, like I got to get these two together. But can you guys lean in on? I mean, this all started, and what you two are going to do together, that all started from one text.
Yeah.
So can you guys just lean in on like the why of taking opportunity and just grabbing it, however you guys want to? I mean,
Yeah.
why did you guys you guys could have just, hey.
I mean, I was intrigued right away. One, not just because we share similar experiences in our health journey, right? But it's that, wow, so many times when people are faced with adversity, they do become a recluse and they shut themselves off from society, from their loved ones, their friends and everything. But when I hear someone going through what I understand is difficult, but it's still like, let's meet, let's hang out. I mean, that first text was like, yeah, you know, and I love that you were comfortable enough that today's not a good day. I'm really struggling. And I'm like, dude, say no more. It's fine. Tomorrow will hopefully be a good day. And we'll carry this on. We're in it together. We all are in this life, right? It's everyone thinks they're just in it alone so many times, but none of us know what we're doing. None of us have always good days. I mean, people can put that perception out that their life is just amazing, but everybody is struggling with something.
yeah.
Some you see and some you don't. Like, people see my struggle. People can't necessarily see yours.
Right.
You know, and it's just such an honor to connect with someone that can be open and not be down about it, but find, you know, inspiration and like you said, like it's taken my pieces of where I would hesitate to put that one step in front of the other. This has given me that confidence to just do it.
Yeah.
What's giving you that?
Well, his creativity, like
Right.
putting stuff out there where you would be like, I don't know how it's going to be perceived, if it's going to be liked. Like you said, counting likes.
Yeah.
You don't count likes anymore. You put it out there and let people just see it.
Yeah.
Your creativity, you've embraced your creativity and trust in it, and just know this is me. And I think when you go through something so hard, it makes you, because when we all had the recluse stage, I did shut off completely, recreating myself stage and then recreating again and losing that and recreating again. And, but there's so many times where you're in such deep thought, self-reflection, and Chris knows how much I reflect even today. You're in such reflection where you're almost like replaying your whole life because you're trying to understand how to get here. Was it a decision I made? Wasn't it, for me, it was like, did I expose myself to that chemical and that's what triggered this? Or, you know what I mean? It's all the things. Did I not have the right diet? What was it? Because everyone you've probably been exposed to it. People have all the advice and all the answers, right? And even with like COVID, oh, did you get the COVID shot? Yeah, I did. Oh, that's what caused your heart failure. No, it wasn't. But you know what I mean? It's all the ignorance in the world that you hear, right? Everyone's a doctor. So you're very cautious, right? Because like I was in the beginning was very cautious on people knowing what I've been through because I didn't. You open yourself up to commentary, right? Good and bad. So yeah, I think just your perspective and what you shared is
for me.
right
It's
on.
like the connection, or like wanting to connect, the connection. It sort of like comes back to just like my tagline, celebrating the little victories in the fight against cancer. And like a little victory can be anything. And what I've learned is like, for me, connection is like the best victory. So it's like when you linked me and Nick up, it's like texting with Nick and meeting up with Nick, that's a win. And like, I also know that me and Nick are probably going to hit it off, and there's going to be more wins on the back
We're
half of
homeboys.
that, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
The fact that we've only known each other for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And I went through a scary surgery last week, right? And you were like, just checking in, like, man, I just want to check in, see how you're doing, right? Like that means so much to someone going through something so scary.
Yep.
You know, and it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude,
So, yeah, I just like making connections. It all comes back to that.
Can you lean in though, like
Yeah.
just on not letting opportunity pass by? This connection, or
Yeah.
you know, in this, right? Like I'm always challenging people. I had coffee with a guy 2 weeks ago. He's had this idea to open this shop, and I'm just pushing him now over the edge. Like, just do it.
I think it's because, like, when you have as many setbacks as I've had, you recognize when there's really not a barrier to doing something. Yeah. So it's like when I'm presented with, like, an opportunity, it's just like, yeah, why wouldn't I do this? This is very easy compared to, like, the stuff that I normally do. Yeah. So, like, people ask me all the time, like, how do you bounce back from setbacks?
Yeah.
And, like, the answer is very easy. Like, when I have a setback, I let myself feel it. I let myself be sad. I let myself feel crappy. I let myself rest in bed for as long as a 3-year-old child will let you rest in bed. And I know, and I'm okay with that, and I'm nice to myself, and I'm kind to myself about that, because I know that the next success, the next connection, the next opportunity to grab something by the horns is right around the corner.
That's cool, man. You know there. Yeah,
I know
'cause
it's
now
there.
you believe that it's coming.
Yeah, I have a good example about that. So, you know, I've had quite a few failed therapies. First, I did octreotide. That failed right away. I can't say it failed. It gave me severe abdominal discomfort, so we moved to another injection called lanreotide, which is like a super kind of like lightweight treatment. It's just
Are these chemo?
No.
Or
No. So lanreotide, you go in once a month and they give you an injection into your hip.
Okay.
Kind of like knocks you out for the day, but otherwise you're feeling pretty good the other 29, 30 days of the month. My oncologist told me her average patient gets about 7 years of treatment off lanreotide. I got about 10 months. So lanreotide failed, and then I moved to chemo. I did a clinical trial of CAP-TEM, and that had good results for a year, and then I was able to go off the TEM and just do CAP. And then in May of this year, I found that the tumor on my liver had progressed, and I found that in January. So the way my cancer works is like it's a slow growing cancer, so you almost kind of need like 2 scans to confirm like cancer growth or tumor growth. So we waited until early June for my next scan. And my next scan was on a Thursday. And I'm on the survivorship board for the Fred and Pamela Cancer Center. And we have a conference we had a conference in June. It's a survivorship conference. You know, a bunch of cancer survivors gather in a room. There's doctors that talk. So I helped plan the event, being on the board. And my oncologist is kind of like the one who's in charge of like throwing the entire event. So I got the scan results on a Thursday, And this event was on a Friday. Not only was I on the board, I was being presented an award for the work I've done in the cancer community. And then I was also on the patient and provider panel. So I had a very large role in this conference. And, you know, I show up Friday morning, or no, I show up to my oncologist's office on Thursday. You know, and she starts immediately going in about how basically the scans have confirmed cancer growth on my tumor, and she gives me an out for the following day. She's like, if you don't you don't have to show up. Like, you don't have to talk on the panel. Like, we can present you your award and check like in private. And I was like, no, I'm gonna show up. And then I showed up the next day in the morning, and I was like the first one there, and she was there. And she walked up to me and was like, she's like, I'm so glad you're here. And then she told me, she was like, my heart sank when I saw your scans, just because I knew, like, I know what today means to you. And I just know like how hard this must be for you to be here today. You know, after learning that yesterday, I looked at her and I said, this is an opportunity. Like, today, like, I'm going to talk about how I handle setbacks. And there is no better time to talk about how I'm handling a setback than the day after I have a setback. Like, It is time to practice what I preach. So, like, what I preach is that any one of us on the planet could die at any time. Any one of us in this room could die at any time. As a cancer patient, I can only speak for myself. I am almost constantly thinking about death. Like, it almost like doesn't leave my mind. And you might hear that and think that's like a bad thing. I think it's a great thing, man. It's just like, because that's where the superpower of perspective comes from.
Yes.
You know, like that's where it all comes from. So that was an opportunity. Like right there, you talk about like opportunities. Like I saw that as an opportunity, and I got up in front of that room and I accepted the award, and I talked to the patient provider panel, and then I stuck around that conference, and I talked to dozens of cancer patients after the conference ended and made so many meaningful connections.
Yeah.
And like, it all just like weaves together. It's like we're talking about opportunities. We're talking about making connections.
Yeah.
It's like, it's all the same, man. It's like,
I just hope, and I hope people will take those opportunities and connections, Jake, and not wait for something cataclysmic, you know, or like life altering to like, why don't we just live that way every day? Because it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
I know, like talking to my like really good friend over here, like what's happened in your life in the last 9 months. I mean, I'm just sitting back and watching it and what's happened in your life, you know, but I want people that don't have cancer, that don't have these setbacks, that like live that way every day.
It's hard. It's almost impossible. Actually, it's funny, at this survivorship conference, the keynote speaker was an oncology nurse, and she ended up getting cancer, and she wrote this article that kind of went viral, and now she goes around giving speeches, but it was called, I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to like get it wrong, but it was like, "Dear cancer patients, I'm sorry." And like her entire speech was about like how she was an oncology nurse. She thought she understood cancer. She thought she knew what it was like. And then she got cancer and she was like, I didn't know anything. Yeah. So it's like, to your point, it's like, I think it's impossible.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Because like you had a nurse who was like, she saw cancer patients all day, every day.
Yep.
And then like, but once she got it, she all of a sudden understood that she didn't understand.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think I don't know if there's any action to take to make people realize, like, I'm trying my best, but I think it at the end of the day, it like takes like a special kind of person like you to like be able to like realize that, you know, like not everyone thinks like that.
Well, and I just, again, this show, you too, I mean, I love you guys. Like, I love that you're giving your life and your days here to spread perspective. I mean, God bless you too, man. You could sit back and, again, that's why I'll fight so hard for people to watch these episodes and keep promoting it, and to get access to listen to someone like you, Jake, and to get access to keep listening to you, Nick. That it's a beautiful world in existence. Obviously, there's a lot of sad. I mean, we talked about it. Like it was heavy. It was heavy this week, right? But
It was. And then we even talked, like, when we first sat and talked, it's like, you don't want to be perceived as trauma dumping, right?
Right.
But like,
Yeah,
it's-
that's what I said. I told Nick, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to sit down at the podcast table and just like trade war stories with you
No.
necessarily.
But it's like you said, like I want our listeners to understand the strength that it took, right, to have that scan, to get that news, right, and then to go present, right. Your world gets flipped, and now you're adapting, and you're switching gears on the fly. It seems like every minute when you're going through that, but like you said, like you do come to the realization. Like I always end a lot of conversations, like on projects, is like, all right, like I apologize sometimes for coming on too strong with a crazy list and a vision and execution and you know, nothing is out of reach. Like Chris has seen that. Like I'll reach out to anybody and I'm going to get them here to talk or something like that. Like no one's out of reach. They're just humans.
love it.
Yeah.
You realize people are just human. But like I always finish it. Like I always apologize a lot of times. And I'm always like, but you know, there's just no time to waste. And that's just my perspective.
Yeah.
There is no time to waste. This is a really important cause and we're going to do this. You're either on board or you're not. That's fine. I respect that, but we're doing this. It's going to happen. And I feel that from you, just hearing you talk, and your approach to everything is just, there's no time to waste. Let's do this. And it's important.
Dude, like my list of like collaborations that I have right now for Good Scan Cans is just like, I'm talking to like a girl.
Can you share a few of them?
Yeah, I'm talking to a girl in Southern California. She's like 23 years old, man. Terminal. She creates amazing artwork. So like we're collaborating on a T-shirt.
Same form of cancer? Or, okay.
Yep.
Okay.
She's awesome. Her name's Anita.
How'd you connect?
Man, like the neuroendocrine cancer community is like, it's so like tight knit because like there's just like not many people that have it. So it's like the pool of people just like isn't very big. So it's like, it's weird. It's like once you know somebody, it's like, oh, you know them? Oh, like, you know them? You start connecting
So
the
as
dots.
long as you're willing to engage in it, that network is...
And that's what I tell new people. I'm like, dude, like get into it. Like be a part of cancer groups, be an advocate. Like that's how you beat cancer.
Yeah, love it.
That's how you beat it.
Opportunity again.
Yeah.
Cancer doesn't want us to talk, right?
Right.
Cancer doesn't want us to share experience, and it's the empathy for one another and learning about each other's cases, right? To apply to yours. It's
Well, and you guys
critical.
are doing, I want to like, good job. This is not a trauma dump. This is extremely educational. Like just learning what you've went through and then keep going through your collaborations. So
Oh yeah, that's right. I was like, you asked me something. And I feel like I forgot what I was saying.
No.
Oh yeah. So yeah, Nita,
Southern Cal.
the Neuroendocrine Tumor Research Foundation, like I said, like they're my best friends, dude. Like when I first got in touch with them last year, I was kind of like lost with Good Scan Cans. Nothing really happened with Good Scan Cans unless like me and Taylor would sit down and have a very concentrated brainstorming session. And I always knew like if it was going to be a long-term thing, things would kind of have to start like just lining up eventually. And like, I wouldn't have to put so much like effort into it.
Yeah.
So in the Neuroendocrine Tumor Research Foundation has really helped me with that. They've connected with me with people all over the country. They're sort of like my mentors.
Yeah.
They actually invited me. They're based out of Boston. They invited me to their researchers symposium in November, which is basically like the top neuroendocrine cancer scientists from all over the country go to Boston and they share their ideas.
That's coming up?
Yeah, it's in November.
Wow.
It's in November, and they asked me to speak at one of the days, so I'm very excited to do that. I'm actually going to present. I'm going to show them a short documentary that I've been working on called The Healing Garden, which parallels my growth as a backyard gardener with my growth as a cancer patient. The through line there is that raising awareness for cancer and donating to cancer research is a lot like planting a seed. There's no immediate gratification. In fact, you may not benefit from the act at all, but you do it because you hope that it'll make a better future for your kids' kids. So that's kind of like the purpose of the Healing Garden documentary. I just landed a little partnership with a good friend of mine who owns a kitchen sort of remodeling franchise in town. So they're going to be donating like a portion of sales to Good Scan Cans.
Cool.
There's another nonprofit called Man Up to Cancer, which is specifically about like mental health for like men who have cancer. I have a call with them like later this month, but me and their director of diversity, his name's Bill, who also has neuroendocrine cancer, have gotten to know each other really well after the last couple of years. So I'm excited to kind of like start collaborating with him. And he's their director of diversity, which like kind of plays into to me because like, you know, I'm technically considered an AYA, which is adolescent and young adult with cancer, which is technically a minority group because we're like technically the most underserved cancer community because like, you know, not pediatric. It's not also technically typical cancer age. So you kind of like fall into these cracks, this gray area of like cancer care. Yeah. So I'm very excited to like, to learn more about that.
Yeah. Well, it's wild because like, I always felt like a sense of responsibility. And even as we talk, it's like a sense of responsibility with the understanding that no one is immune to a story like this.
Yep.
Right. But that sense of responsibility and taking that and applying that, right? Going to Boston and being a part of these discussions, right? Because you're in the driver's seat. Like you said, that nurse didn't understand. She treated it, but until she was in that driver's seat herself, she was like, holy crap, I don't know what it's like to go around these turnpikes.
Yeah.
Now I do. And I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's like, what part of that, like in your overall, like, I think when you're diagnosed with something, anything, you start to feel that mortality and what is the legacy going to be? Like for me, it was always a responsibility of pushing medicine further. I want everyone that comes after me to have options.
Yeah.
Is that the same? You get that same sense of,
man, thank you for asking me this because I wanted to hit on this earlier and I forgot about it when I was talking about creativity. I sort of have this theory. It's called the theory of leaving evidence, and it's just something I completely made up. But basically, I like to ask the question, when you're dead and gone, what evidence are you leaving behind? And I'm not necessarily talking about stories people tell about you or the reputation you leave behind. I'm talking about like tangible evidence, things that you can touch, feel, watch, listen to. So for me, it's all about leaving evidence. Like when I'm dead and gone, I want people to be able to watch Jake Dawson videos and listen to Jake Dawson songs, read the words that I wrote and know who I was without having to hear it from other people. It's like my wife's grandpa, his name is Grandpa Rex, and I've heard so many stories about Grandpa Rex. You know, I know
that's
that
one cool name.
Yeah,
man,
awesome name.
Dude.
But I know that he was a little bit crabby. He liked Old Crow whiskey and he liked dirty jokes. And
this is Taylor's side or your side?
Taylor's side. And I hear these
Grandpa Rex.
Yeah, and I hear these stories
like
all the time, but like that's all they are is stories. And it's like, what if I could like watch a video of Grandpa Rex? Or like what if he had a series where he was like making drinks with Old Crow? Or you know, it's just like how cool would that be? And it's like maybe he doesn't want to be remembered as a guy who just drank Old Crow. Like, I don't know. It's just like, so like for me personally, and this also is sort of like a generational thing. Like our generation just has the tools at our disposal. It's like,
to do it.
Like Grandpa Rex didn't have a phone.
Yeah.
Like we do. So it's like very easy to leave evidence now. So it's like, I'm always just like thinking about like, what am I leaving behind?
Dude, it's a beautiful theory, man. Yeah. I love it. I love it.
That's wild that you said that because like when my dad passed away, I was young, I was 22, and it's at that critical point in life, like where you really need your father, right? And he died of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I remember just going through videotapes and not finding him anywhere. He was always behind the camera, and then there's this one clip. It's like not even 20 seconds where he puts it down and he goes in front of it. I still have it in my closet.
Just watch that.
See?
Shit.
And I kept the camera, I kept the tape, just so I can revisit that. And now it's been, long time, more than over a decade.
Yeah.
But
case in
still
point
going
with,
back.
Sorry. Case in point with that evidence is so important. Like you as his
Hear their
son.
voice.
Yeah, you as his son, you want to, and I think whether it's your kin or your blood, like there's others, right? They're gonna cross that content and I mean, it's gonna have impact on them, whether we're here physically or not.
Yep.
To hear your voice is such a critical piece.
When did that start? Like, when did that start with this theory? And
I kind of just like recently named it, but
it was always floating.
It's something that I started feeling like immediately after Taylor had Wilder. Because it was just like, God forbid I die before this little dude starts having memories. Like, I'm going to leave him memories, you know?
And I mean, we share that space, right? Being young dads going through something so really honestly scary.
Yeah.
And where you're questioning your fate. You don't know what's just around the corner with every day.
Yeah.
Every day you could wake up good and then go to sleep feeling terrible.
Yeah.
That's the reality. And that, Rach and I, like that, you talked about those little wins. And I remember my first win, being diagnosed, organ failure, feeding tube. They just punctured my lung doing a liver biopsy. At that point, I was thinking several surgical biopsies in that week. And, but then asking the question, because 31, do you guys plan on having kids? And that's exactly what we were doing up to that point. So, not really open about this, but, imagine organ failure, punctured lung, and, feeding tube, and having to do your business to secure that future.
Right.
Where in that moment, I didn't think I was going to survive that, but that was like that little carrot. And again, nurses, angels in the flesh, gave me all the respect. We had a little fun with it. Like they they made a sign just for my door to have, my privacy. But the crazy thing was, I was on 42nd and a meal at the med center, and we had 30 minutes to get it to women's. And it was from my hand there, and not a second to waste. And my wife grabbed it, went downstairs, had a friend waiting in valet, and she moved her out of the seat, drove her car. I mean, she did run a few questionable lights. She got there with 2 minutes to spare.
Wow.
And I was still refusing to go into treatment, my first chemo, until I knew that was secure. That was how important it was to me. And I remember the oncologist, good friend, going like, I was refusing. They were telling me we need to go do treatment tonight. I was like, nope, not until I hear that call that what we submitted was viable. And then he had to have the conversation with Rach in the hallway. Like, you're not going to have a husband if he does not get treatment tonight. Like, we're at that point of no return. He has to get treatment. And so she convinced me, did it, and it was 6 hours into an 8-hour chemo treatment that we get that call that it's viable. So it was like that first win, and you even made it through your first chemo. You just got told you had cancer,
Right.
and you're fighting for your life. And then that was that first win. And then I took that and I just tried to duplicate it every chance I got and just focus on those small wins. Do you find that in your journey, those little wins, just having a son, and it opens your eyes and it takes that?
Dude, it's everything. Having a son is much more than a little win. That's like the ultimate win. Because me and Taylor, in early 2021, had decided that we were going to try to have kids in 2021, and then everything happened, and you go from wanting to start a family to not being intimate with your wife for 2-3 months. And honestly, like, the non-intimacy is like the least of your worries. It's like you're not even thinking about that. You're just like thinking about like how you feel like death and you think you might die. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with another cancer patient's wife that I realized that it was like okay to move on and have a kid. Basically, like, I didn't say anything about my cancer diagnosis publicly until November of 2021. So it was about 5 months. And I wrote a big, long blog post on Facebook.
I read that.
You read it?
I remember it.
Yeah. And I got a DM from this woman named Emily, who's a brain cancer survivor. She was like the original person who like hit me up, and she said, hey, I'm worried that you don't have anybody in your life who has cancer. I just want you to let you know I'm here for you. I'd also like to introduce you to this guy named Colton and his wife, Larea. He has melanoma, but I just think you guys would get along. And Colton's a little more on the private side, so I started talking to Larea, who's very open, and they had 3 kids. And I told her, just like how I didn't want to have kids anymore, and I thought it was irresponsible, and
Yeah.
And she basically said, F that. Like, you're going to do everything you would normally do as if you didn't have cancer. So go get pregnant. And 2 months later, early December 2021, Taylor told me she's pregnant.
Wow.
And that's kind of like the last point I wanted to hit on, was just like empathy as a piece overall, like empathy for others, recognizing when others have empathy for you. It's like the most powerful like tool we have at our disposal for like kind of understanding each other and making it all work. And
Evolving.
yeah, I know like we talked about empathy quite a bit.
Yeah. I mean, just like what you said, like I felt so guilty, so selfish, that I was going to not only put my wife through this, but what is it going to be for my kids?
Yeah.
If I'm even around at their birth. Like that was the outlook, and that was a very real possibility. And then the shock when Julia came into this world, having the shock that I wasn't prepared mentally to be a parent, because I wasn't expecting to be a parent.
Yeah.
It was kind of wild.
Well, it's like, I think not every dad, but like, I feel like a lot of dads go through that, like the, oh crap moment where you're like, I don't know how to be a dad. Like, remember like the first week Wilder was born, I just like broke down in our bedroom and started crying. And Taylor's like, what's the matter? I'm like, I don't know how to be a dad.
Yeah.
There is no manual. Like,
No, it's so scary. They're so small.
Yeah.
just a complete meltdown in the bedroom.
Oh, dude, I was like standing at the closet, like picking out my clothes for the day. Just like,
Oh, man.
Thanks for sharing that, man. We've all been there.
We've all
been there.
Yes.
But then it's like at the end of the day, it's like, dude, I know, like I talk to so many like nonprofit founders and stuff, and it's like, I ask them like, why do you do what you do? And it's like, they all say they're kids. It's like, I need to prove to my kids that I tried my best to beat cancer and fight it.
Man.
Like, it's like, it's weird. It's like you, I don't know. I would care less about what happened to myself if it wasn't for like my family, you know?
Oh man,
So,
I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for my family and my friends. I always tell Chris this, because people are like, man, you go through all the adversity and you're still showing up. And it's like, how do I not give it my best when everyone around me is giving it their best?
that's a great
I would be
point right
such
there.
an asshole
Yeah.
if I didn't give it my best
That's a
every
great
day.
point right there.
And I want to be that example, right? In public to complete strangers. I want to be that example.
Yep.
So I have two to hit on that. One is don't take your family for granted, right? Like I'm really quick to check guys that like, yeah, it's not perfect, man, but that's yours. Like that little person over there or big person over there, they are like, you are the artist and the curator of that thing, right? Like don't take, and then also we've talked about it before on the show that there's a lot of folks that never find love for a variety of reasons, right? And I hope that they go out and take opportunity to find community. There's love that isn't like the intimate marriage, dating, whatever, right? But there are plenty of people out there that will listen and really will care about you more than they care about themselves, right? Just like, again, it's one of those things of perspective and being grateful that like, if you have a family and you're struggling with that, like call another dad. Hey man, I'm struggling with this. And if you don't have a family, don't stop reaching out and finding community. And there's in the F3 group that I work out with, I mean, there's probably 3-4 guys in there that have had love and they've been out but like they found community in F3,
right?
And and so they haven't stopped. And I think that's incredible. And we have empathy towards them, right? We talked about it earlier too. At least in my perspective, when someone's struggling, right? I think a long time ago, I would try to fix it verbally. You're Jake, you said it earlier. Yeah. You're strong. You've got this. That's not what they need to hear.
No,
right?
I would say a majority of cancer patients don't like hearing you're strong, you're gonna get through it. Because like, oh, you're so brave. I don't know if I could do it. Because like I didn't ask for this. It's like, am I strong? I don't know. I'm just doing like what I think I have to do to survive, So it's also just like not helpful hearing that, because it's like some days I don't feel strong.
Yeah.
Some days I feel like really weak and I need other people to be strong for me.
Yeah. And have empathy,
yeah.
right? And I want to, the funeral that I was at a week ago tomorrow, God, I thought our pastor did such a good job when that person's wife had left the congregation room for a minute, and we were all still there, and he goes, guys, like, you can't fix this.
Yeah.
You can't fix this. And I want to be respectful of privacy, but he was young. He was young. And our pastor, same thing, I can't fix. God, I wish I could just grab it, right? And fix it for you. I can't do that, but what I can do is let you know that I care about you as much as myself, like, and sincerely, like, and that, you know, you checking in with Nick, dude, I'm just glad you're here this week, man. Like, I mean, you went through a pretty big procedure. Yeah. And one of the first things that you said tonight, though, that had impact on you was Jake reaching out to you and just saying, I'm thinking about you.
Knowing everything you're going through, right? Like, it's that, I guess, you
said it earlier. It's like a responsibility.
It's
like
a responsibility. And just because you're going through something.
I felt more responsibility to reach out to you than anybody else that you reached out to. I was like, if anybody in this group chat's going to reach out to Nick, it has to be me.
It felt good. And it, like, even when you're like, hey man, I'm not feeling good, can we reschedule? And it's like, of all people you could tell that to who would understand, it's me.
Yeah.
I get it. And I even told Rach, I was like, you know, our conversation, I took back, and she's like, well, like, you get it. Like,
yeah.
And even to the point of, like, as you go down that path, right, and understanding and having, you know, empathy, right, hardship comes in many forms. It either comes through relationships, illness. Like, I look at myself as a very, very rich man with family, friends, and just the people I surround myself with. And it's I don't want to say it's by chance. It's kind of wild how they're in your life, right? There's a story. You at Cars and Cures this year, you got to meet a lot of the characters in my stories that I share. Dude. And it was wild to see them all there and being able to meet each other because they've heard about each other. Yep. They don't have a face or have met in person. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of wild to see that. But everyone, you just find yourself, I'm so lucky to have experienced, and even taking offense to like Rach, like, your wife could still offend you, right? Even though she knows you better than anything. But I was scared about something. I can't remember what, because what she said kind of caught me off guard. It's like, I'm so scared. And she goes, you're scared? How are you scared? Everything you've been through, how are you even scared of anything? Yeah. I'm like, I still get scared. Just because I've been through that doesn't mean I'm not scared for my kids' safety and all the things of like you going on trips and driving really far distances. I am scared. I still get very, very scared. And it's okay to be scared. Allow yourself to be scared, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think that was one thing I learned, is okay to be scared.
Yeah.
Because in the early part, I was so scared. I was scared of my own shadow. And Rachel had to slap me in the face and go, we're not going to live like this. Yeah. And me and you have had that conversation of not living in fear, but still giving you that okay to be scared. Have those days to be scared.
I started going to therapy in December of 2021, and I've been seeing the same therapist ever since. And she's helped me so much. She specializes in chronic diseases. And it's like one of the prevailing message I've learned from consistent therapy and from her specifically is that all the feelings you're feeling are okay. Like, literally every time I like hop on a telehealth with her and I tell her how I'm feeling, she looks at me and she's like, well, it makes sense that you'd be feeling that way. You know, it's just like immediate validation, you know, which is always feels so good, because you go through these moments where you feel like you're just extremely weak. And your brain feels off, you know. Yeah. It's like my mental health is just like sideways right now. And then so to be able to like explain how you're feeling, and then for someone to tell you like that's normal, here's how you can reframe your thoughts to like, you know, like that's made all the difference in the world.
I was going to ask you if you've leaned in on therapy through your journey, and because I've heard it so consistently how helpful it is, and not just, I mean, for all of us, right?
Yeah.
For all of us to talk to a professional that doesn't have a bias or doesn't have a context of who we are or our history, just it's me and you.
Yeah.
That's cool that you brought it up. It came up about 20 minutes ago, and I wanted to ask. Yeah. And you've been consistently going for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's awesome, man.
4 years. Like, it started off like once a week, you know, because when I started, I was like, I feel nauseous all day, every day, and I throw up, and I'm somehow supposed to maintain a full-time job. Like, how do I do this? So it started off with just sort of like weekly sessions on compartmentalization and really just going through the steps of, you know, loss is what we were doing, is we were learning. She was teaching me how to grieve. And now it's like we see each other once every 5-6 weeks. And sometimes we spend like the first 20 minutes of our conversation just talking about life in general. It's not even cancer related. So, yeah, I always suggest therapy
Big fan,
to people.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, huge fan. It's just, yeah. Let's take it home with empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
gratefulness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
empathy. I mean, like I explained to you, like at one point, our species was being eaten by Tyrannosaurus Rex. One guy had to go, hey, man, hey, I wouldn't go over there. That thing with teeth and little arms, that thing's going to eat you. Just ate my buddy last week. Don't go by that thing. And right, it's that sharing of story.
Yeah.
And like, I think sharing story to help others cope and navigate their own journey, right? Like creating a map. It can be perceived as trauma dumping, but it's not. In many cases, it's I'm sharing this with you because there's always a chance, man.
Yeah.
No matter what type of hardship you're gonna have, none of us are immune to hardship. We're gonna have some form of major hardship. It's a pendulum, right? And we have our highs and we have our lows, and it's only, like you say, it's only a matter of time till we hear that storm. And so I think the empathy and that connectivity. I mean, the book I'm reading, right, A Good Life. That's that 85-year study Harvard's been doing, and that's like the big thing is the key to happiness and a good life is relationships. That's our species. We
You
are
gotta
to
hand me
have
that one. What's the name of that one?
a good life.
You gotta hand that over.
So I'll share it with both of you because it's a really good book, and it's helped me kind of process on, because you do ask yourself why, like why am I doing this? And like you said, to your point, people go, I could never. I got that told when I was paralyzed. Some of my closest friends, as I'm laying in bed with just being paralyzed less than a week, going, I don't even know, man. I'd want to die. I don't know. And I'm like,
Thanks,
you say that, yeah, thanks, man. But you say that, but you know what? The human will, so we understand it, right?
Dude.
The human will. People, I was told in medic school, like, the human body, you don't decide when you expire. The human body subconsciously decides when it's time to give up. You don't get to decide that. Our patients.
Have you read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl?
No.
Holocaust survivor. It's one of the most sold books of all time, but his basic premise is that you can survive any how if you have the right why. And he credits that philosophy with saving him in Auschwitz. He said he literally saw people lose their will to live, and that's why they died. And he just kept reminding himself.
What was his why? Do you remember it?
I don't.
I gotta
doesn't
go
want to
back.
run the book.
Sorry, I didn't want.
You're trying to get him to run the book.
Sorry. Yeah, some more people. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you either. But I think you guys are on to such a good, What eventually got you, like, what was your why?
I mean, the easy and most obvious answer is just what we talked about, which is just our family. But I think even maybe zoomed out farther than that would be like legacy. When I got diagnosed, I was working a completely different job. I was working for a digital film studio. And I really liked my job. But I wasn't a boss, you know? I was working for other people. I didn't see much career advancement in it for me. And old Jake Dawson would have just kept working there. But I walked into my boss's office and I said, I need a legacy. This cancer diagnosis has reframed everything in my mind, you know? So I can't waste any time doing something that I don't think is gonna really bring me satisfaction and joy.
Cool, man.
I don't know if that answered your question.
It did. No. I think what's important from that too is that what you've really reframed my brain tonight is legacy can be whatever you believe it is.
Yeah, absolutely. You can make the rules yourself. And I'm constantly rewriting the rules as a cancer patient all the time. It's like, it's weird having a nonprofit called Good Scan Cans, because what do you do when you have bad scans? You reframe what a small win is.
Yeah, exactly.
So I didn't have a good scan. What is another win?
Yeah.
It's connecting with somebody. It's sharing a meaningful experience with somebody. It's getting up in front of a room full of people and talking about having a bad scan.
Yes.
You're the
Yes,
author of your
there's-
own story.
Yeah.
And you get to
Make
write the next
rules.
chapter.
Yeah.
And that's the other piece to it is it's, like you said, like it's that legacy, and it's like I would tell Rach after all this was like 9 months ago, where I'm like, I didn't know where I fit in, don't know what I'm gonna do. This was before the nonprofit, all the things. And I told her, I was like, I don't know where I fit in. But I can't go work like at Starbucks.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to relate to anybody. I wouldn't.
Right.
You've had too much life experience that you almost feel you don't fit in so many spaces, right? And it consumes you so much, and you want to go into those innocent spaces.
Yeah.
But your innocence is long gone, right? And you're like, wow, life is so short. What are we going to do with this time, right? And then you start to figure it out, like you said, and you are the author of your own chapters and your own book.
Well, and just the power too of reminding people that, like, how much money does it cost to walk out of your apartment, your house, your condo? How much money does it cost to walk out the door and do whatever you want to do?
Well, for me, I don't get a pee for free, so I don't pee for free, and so it's pretty expensive. That's a good 6 casts right there. Yeah.
But I mean, like, how much power and validity is that
It's free.
it doesn't cost you any money
Right.
to go out and create your legacy? Like, don't get it twisted.
And
It doesn't take anything. It like you have the ability to walk out and go put your time, effort, love, treasure, talents, everything towards whatever you want.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
one piece too is like, the vulnerability, right? Being in the hospital, having your dignity just sucked right out of the room, right? And then living that day after day, and those memories and everything else, and that vulnerability. I would think, for me at least, having experienced that deep vulnerability and accepting it has allowed me to expand my relationships and share visions and passions, and really make an emphasis. Like, if I'm not passionate about it, I'm not putting my energy towards it. I have to be passionate about it. I always hear like guys in the firehouse that would have like this $1 million idea, but I'd always tell them that you're not going to make any money and you're not going to get rich from that idea because you're thinking money first before purpose.
Right.
And it's like, you got to be passionate about it. If you really like, passion comes before profit.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, like, do you think that vulnerability has allowed you to step out of your comfort zone and, like you said, not count the likes and put out your creativity?
Yeah, I think like vulnerability for a creative is super scary. So I think like that's kind of like why I started off talking about how cancer has sort of taken away my like creative inhibitions. Just because, I don't really feel them anymore. I don't know. It's just like a feeling inside of me. It's like I can't even really necessarily explain it.
I love it.
I just like, at the end of the day, I just feel like I have to do certain things. And being creative with my cancer and being vulnerable about it and sharing the losses and the wins online is just like what I have to do. It's like, I don't know. I don't know.
It's
It's
just
how
coming from
how I cope.
Yeah.
It's just how I cope.
But it
Yeah.
helps people like me cope when I read
Yeah.
your stuff.
It's like being vulnerable like helps me, It's not like, it's not a scary or a bad thing. It's like a good thing. I've trained myself to feel that way though.
Yeah. And you said it like, and that's where that appreciation is coming from, that you guys, you put that content out there, like you're helping somebody. And what's cool, man, is it's not scripted. It's just coming from inside of you. Like you said it, like
Right.
you don't, that's what I got to do. Like, it's what I need to, that you just, it's not like it's
Who knows what it's going to look like a year from now, but like,
Yeah.
just living in the moment.
Love it, man. I love it. Where can we find all of your content, Good Scan Cans, where
Yes.
So if you want to keep up with Good Scan Cans, the best place to do that is definitely Instagram. We're pretty active on Instagram, so just Good Scan Cans. Yeah, like I said, we have lots of collaborations in the works. Really excited about everything we have coming the last quarter of 2025.
awesome, man. I hope
proud of you,
NHF.
man.
I hope NHF and Good Scan Cans can get together too,
We're
man.
definitely going to
There's-
collaborate.
Yeah.
I mean, I always look at like so many nonprofits want to just work in their own space. But to me, I feel like success comes no different than relationships is
Yeah.
collaboration.
Yeah,
Like
we've
you-
already like talked.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a lot of exciting stuff coming down the line. And
Yeah.
I just had a vision of you two at your last event that you had, and like Jake's he's going through, and I just saw
Well, especially like
oh
cars and stuff. Like cars are cool, like it's really easy
Yes.
to make some cool car content. Like,
yes,
Yeah, so I know like we talked about a skate thing that you're working on.
Yeah.
So there's lots to come for sure.
well, you have a massive heart, and I appreciate you.
I appreciate you
Chris,
guys. Thank you, Chris, for hitting us up. Nick, thank you for being so you.
Same,
thanks
man.
for taking
Welcoming.
the opportunity, man.
Dude, I am honored to share the trenches with you, and I'll continue to do that.
Thank
and
you.
Fight right
Honor with
alongside
you
with
as well, man. Like I tell everyone in the last 2 weeks that I've known you, like I said, I met this dude, Nick. Like honestly, I can't even tell you his story because it's too long and it's too complicated and there's too many ups and downs. But like
Yeah.
I just I gotta ride for this dude.
Man,
So,
thank you, man. Appreciate you. Well, you want to send us home?
Sure. Thank you. I'm really just floored that your guys' introduction to each other, and it proves the power of just leaning in and taking an opportunity that can seem pretty small and minuscule and turning it into something beautiful. So I hope everybody leans in on that. You keep fighting, man.
Will do.
And you keep spreading all this love and hope and into the world, and just
When's this gonna air?
usually, so we're right before a Friday, so probably next Friday, I would
Gotcha.
assume.
So my next treatment is on Monday.
Okay.
So this new treatment kind of knocks me out for. Last time it knocked me out for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be laid up all next week, and I'm gonna be looking forward to it.
Well, next Friday would be nice to
Oh,
be
yeah,
able
that'd
to
be
have
awesome.
this.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that.
I'm going to be
But,
text bombing you, man, checking in on you. And I'll be right
that's
there
the
with you,
beautiful
man.
thing, dude. Is like
Yeah.
now there's just this care between two new people, a new relationship. It's awesome. With that, another amazing episode. Thank you, Jake Dawson.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And let's keep spreading love. Good times, good vibes, and
Good scan cans.
Yes,
Good
and
scan cans.
keep
Cheers.
leaving legacy.
Yes.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Want to thank you for listening to Two Caring Gents. Well, real stories meet real people. Please subscribe, like, share, all the things. That only helps our channel and get that sense of empathy that's so important in our lives out. So thank you for listening. Until next week, take care.